Hello and welcome to Core TV coverage of the Core Australian V8 Supercars Championship live from Brands Hatch. We are using the Grand Prix circuit this time out. We've got another brilliant entry of drivers from all over the world: Australia, the UK, the USA, and many more great countries competing today as well. My name is Adam Weller, here again to provide commentary alongside Tom Chorley. Hello, Tom.
Hello there, Adam. Good to be back once again for what should be quite a thrilling spectacle today, if it's anything to go on the previous races.
Definitely the case, and of course that is amplified by the fact that we are at Brands Hatch, a circuit that Gerhard Berger referred to as the best racetrack in the world.
And Niki Lauda.
Yes, Niki Lauda as well, and I know a lot of race drivers rate it in their top 5 circuits of all time. Tony Jardine once said it was a second only to Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Not sure I agree with that. Brands Hatch is certainly very close to my heart, and I'm very excited to see race 1, which is going to get underway in any moment now, in just a few seconds. And should be a very, very good race again today. If anyone saw the Laguna Seca coverage, they will know it was the best race of the season so far. Memto89 scoring 2 wins last time out. Can he go one better? Can he get a hat-trick today? Remains to be seen. We know he has a new livery on his Chevrolet Camaro. He's very proud of it, and we're all about to see it for the very first time. There it is, and that's quite a sight. Very different from his last livery, and we're about to get underway here. The lights are almost ready.
Suspension is killing us here.
Yes, it seems as if the starter is maybe providing a little bit of extra tension here. So there you go, the lights. Here we are. In about 3 seconds, we will be underway at Brands Hatch, and we are away. Smoking tyres again for the start with these V8 thunderous muscle cars. Memto89 with the best start. It's racing, retaining that second position that he had from qualifying. Santu929 in third position. I think that's the first time we've seen him in a potential rostrum position as they go through Druids. Memto89 going a bit wide. It's racing almost up the inside there, but not up the outside, sorry. But not making any sort of move. Memto89 still in the lead, Killing Heidi in 4th, Scotty8646 in 5th position. Looks as if Killing Heidi is catching up to Santu as we go off into the GP loop for the first time.
Yeah, so it was a good start, wasn't it, from Santu and from Memto, because anyone who's known from racing around in the past knows the inside line into the first corner is beyond pivotal, because getting hung up on the outside.
And it's racing with a big moment there onto the grass on the exit, and that was a big moment there on the exit of Hawthorns. That must have been a very scary situation. He managed to keep it under control just. It doesn't look as if he's lost too much time in that one either.
Yeah, so it's a very narrow track, and of course very fast, particularly around that end of the circuit, and it only takes one small slip up and you're off into the Kent countryside, which very abruptly ends because barriers are
and
very
Ben
close.
Crow, Ben Crow off the track there as well, into the gravel. Looks as if he's had quite a bad first lap, as he was already quite a way off the pack. Just ahead of him we have Addy Lizard. We saw him on screen just a few seconds ago. He's new to the championship, making his Core Australian V8 Supercars debut today at Brands Hatch. Can't think of a better venue for your Australian V8 Supercars debut. Seems as if the top 4 are breaking away at the moment, and Memto89 in the lead. Critically for the title battle, obviously It's Racing is a title contender, so is Glenal's 81, who is not here. So it should be interesting to see whether we'll get Glenn Owls back out in a week's time at Silverstone. But for now, Memto89 seems to be ever so slightly getting away, as Scotty8646 getting extremely smoky there on the entrance to the GP loop. Not quite sure what happened there. Perhaps he got a wheel on the grass and that compromised his exit.
Yes, you can quite easily compromise entry and exit into the corners around here by putting wheels over the grass, or you can do what Killing Heidi did there and just ignore it altogether and then go over the inside of it. There's a cracked bit of cheating, but
That seems to be a very, very loose Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG. He's getting very sideways, and of course, as we've documented,
not
Ben
sideways
Crow.
as that, though.
Yeah, Ben Crow off. One thing we missed, Addy Lizard up to 5th place after Scotty's moment. So that's a change for position, 5th place for the Australian V8 Supercars debutant. And more problems for Ben Crow. Looks as if he may be struggling a little bit here in the early going.
Yes, unfortunately, he seems to be making his comments every race so far, not to disrespect Ben. There is Addy Lizard's off.
Scotty 86.46 off track as well. Ben Crow emerges from the smoke.
That was a good shot, wasn't it?
Yes.
Emerging through the torrent of smoke.
Now spinning on the other side of the track, so Scotty's having all kinds of problems getting that Lexus back into a straight line. He's finally done so now. The tyres were almost glowing red there as he slides again. I think he's doing his best Formula Drift impression. Someone needs to tell him the European Drift Championship haven't gone to Brands Hatch yet this year. Addy Lizard was also off there, so I'm not sure if Scotty 86.46 was taking evasive action from the green BMW, but that's a tale of the tape, and perhaps the stewards will be forced to look into that one post-race. But Memto 89 still in the lead here at the moment in that freshly resprayed Chevrolet Camaro in the very nice shade of red.
It's this, isn't it?
Yes, a welcome change from the white and orange. Apparently it's a one-off livery for his homecoming round in Kent. I believe we will be seeing the old livery again at Silverstone in a week's time as Ben Crow cutting the entrance to the final corner there. Got to be careful, too much grass there and you could be spinning or indeed going out into the gravel on the outside line.
Yeah, of course they're running racing medium tyres around here, which have a whammy effect of if you go off, get dirt on them or spin and they lose a bit of temperature, they do not react the same way as the softs do, in that, you know, getting them back up to temperature and to yield their grip is a lot trickier. So even if you make a mistake, you're going to suffer some more punishment afterwards if you're not too careful, which sometimes, you know, you can be a bit hot-headed, trying to get back into the rhythm of things too quickly. But Ben's off again.
Having a big moment, and I think that Addy Lizard is going to have enough of a run on him to make the move going into Hawthorns. Remains to be seen. He should have more speed, but it is not enough. However, we are going to see a BMW battle out on track, killing Heidi here in 4th place. Not really making up any ground on Santu 929, who I want to put a good word in for. We've seen some varying performances from Santu over the course of the season so far, but he's in 3rd position, and with over 25% of the race completed so far, it is very good to see that he's still on that podium position. Can it be the first podium finish of the season for the Indian driver?
Yes, it'd be quite a coup for Core if we could get the first Indian onto the podium in the series, which would be fantastic. So would you describe it as a cherry red livery which Memto's running here?
Yes, that is a very good description. On the verge of Dr. Pepper, if you ask me. And as you were saying, yes, it would be very good to have an Indian driver on the podium for the first time in Core Online Racing's history. Also very good to have 3 different nations represented on the podium. It's Racing might not be the Australian on the podium if he keeps going off wide there. He's done that twice now on the exit of Hawthorns, and that one was rather wider than the first time on lap 1. I think he might be wanting to go rally crossing.
He certainly must think he's at Essex Super. Yes, yes, but the top 4 have been spread out a little bit, really, haven't they? It seems to be a bit of a concertina effect shaping up now, although It's Racing has just dropped close to Santa as a result of that last error there. But I suspect the Mustang still has a bit of performance in hand to pull away from Santu there, as Memto is quite serenely leading away, isn't he? He's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's at the moment in that rather attractive looking Camaro there. And there's potential for rain today, isn't there, this being England? So that's something which could come into effect later on in these races if the rain descends, as Santu looked particularly wide there on the exits of. Is it Graham Hill? I'll be honest, I always forget the corner. I'm ashamed to say I always forget the corner. Apologies to Graham Hill, who, if he could hear us, would be turning in his grave. But no, Santu's held on to that one quite nicely. As they now into Hawthorne.
Many purists would say that he was already turning in his grave for a while after they reprofiled that corner in 1999. It used to be a high-speed sweeper, and if you want to sample that, there is of course the 80s configuration of Brands Hatch available on Gran Turismo. As you were saying, Santu 929 going very wide there, but regardless of that, he's definitely closer to its racing, partly due to that wide moment just over a lap ago at Hawthorns for the Pride Tech Motorsport driver. And Santu 99 perhaps eyeing second position.
It could be. He's clearly enjoying Brands Hatch a lot more than Laguna Seca, as he couldn't really get too... Well, in some ways, they are similar, aren't they? They're reasonably narrow, close proximity of walls or substantial gravel traps, but whereas Laguna is quite stop-start, a bit understeering in places. There's a spinner for Memto.
Is off track on the entrance to Graham Hill Bend. I think he got a wheel on the grass. And Santu 99 is up to second place. However, It's Racing has also made up a position. He is now leading. Can Santu take the victory? It remains to be seen, but the Australian driver will be very happy with this. And Killing Heidi in fourth place might be about to reap the benefits of Memto's mistake as well. We've noticed that there's also been a disconnection, so that's unfortunate. We're down to just 6 cars, and Memto 89, well, he's thrown a comfortable lead away.
Yes, I was beginning to think he'd gotten over his Brands Hatch jinx, let's call it, as he's had attempts in the past to not go very well here, and unfortunately it's happened again at the moment. He'd have least wanted it when he was very comfortably leading. But let's see if he can regroup now and get back towards the front of the field, because he was pulling away from the others before this happened. So let's see what he can do in these remaining 6 laps, won't it now? So a little over half distance, which for keen maths fans is 2 lots of 25%. But let's see what we can do. The sun glistening nicely off that corner. Sorry, I should stop talking about the livery of this Camaro. It's just makes a nice change, doesn't it?
To be fair, he was bugging us for about 2 weeks before the race, telling us how brilliant his new livery was going to be. And well, this is the effect it's had on us. The anticipation was killing us, frankly. And
but it's lived up to the hype.
Yes, and it's living up to the hype, and he can expect to have all the plugs in the world for the remainder of this broadcast. Santu929 also want to give him a plug, because he is still in second position. It's Racing is getting away slightly, but Santu looks as if he might have this second position sealed, and that would be very good, not only for him for this race, but also in terms of the championship, as he seems to be highly dedicated to this championship. The more rounds he does, obviously, the more chance he has of scoring good points, and he's taking the opportunity well here. Memto 89 off again there. I believe that was at Dingledale, and he doesn't seem to be doing too well at the moment. As you say, he's had a bit of a jinx at Brands Hatch. I think it was in WEC he went off he disconnected. He had quite a comfortable lead, I believe, in the CCR Bentley. When
he did, because he was racing me that day, wasn't he? And yeah, we had a great fight on that day, but I think on a couple of occasions we were both caught out at Dingledale. It's a very tricky corner because it's on the top of the hill.
Whoa, and someone else has been caught out. It's Ben Crow. Made contact with those barriers, and he has indeed got damage. I thought he'd got away with it there, but on the last hit, he got suspension damage on both sides of the... on both corners on the left side of that M3. It's Racing still in the lead. Santu929 displaying those headlights. A statement of intent from the Indian driver. Memto 89 in third and Killing Heidi in fourth. We see them all flash past. Not a lot between the four of them. Killing Heidi has dropped away from Memto, but if Memto keeps making mistakes, producing smoke and indeed dirt and gravel from the back of his lovely red Camaro, then we could see 2 Australians on the podium.
Yeah, it keeps toing and throwing this because it looked as if Santu was originally dropping back from. Oh, so we see someone got off
And
a
Killing
Dingle
Heidi
Dell.
is definitely thrown away any chance of a podium there, bar a miracle, because he's lost a lot of time there. Memto 89 already entering the final corner. That would be Clearways. So Killing Heidi will still have a good result in 4th place, but any chance of a podium is now down the drain. Must be said that the top 3 are also closing up on each other.
Yes, so it keeps swinging backwards and forwards, isn't it? As Memto was originally closing back up on Santu, who was in turn dropping away from its racing. But then we saw Memto running wide at Dingle Dell, where Heidi just chucked it into the scenery. Whereas I say, it's so easy to do it there because you're trying to get the car as far into the left as possible to get a good swing through Dingle Dell. But it's also at the same time creeping right a bit, so it's so easy to dip a single wheel in the grass and you're just around. There's nothing you can do about it really, except hope that you don't go too far into the gravel. As let's have a look at the times. Oh wait, no, let's just get back to the action then. As Santu, he's sort of keeping a equal distance from its racing now, isn't he? This looks fairly set at the moment, but we've seen already what can happen, so this thing still might change yet. Oh, is that Memto running wide again?
Yes, it is, and he's got to be careful not to throw it into the barriers there. He saved it. He almost went across the track into the barriers, as we've seen so many touring car drivers do over the years, be it in the BTCC and the World Touring Cars and many other production car based championships. Of course, the GP loop has been around since the very early 1960s, so it's had plenty of time to catch drivers out. Memto 89 was almost the latest of a prestigious and long list of drivers to be caught out.
Yeah, if we go back to, not to talk about myself a bit, but that WEC race we had here in Season 3, where we were duking it away for about the first 20 laps until I reverted to type and threw it into the barrier, just as Ben Crowe was beautifully illustrating there, yes. And Memto, he pulled out a fantastic lead, and then, unfortunately, was disconnected when it was all looking so good for him, and I felt bad for like 2 seconds, and I thought, oh look, I'm leading now, so you then get on with it really. As they've really fallen away now of the bottom 3, haven't they? There's a bit of a distinction here between those who are doing well and those who appear to be getting acquainted with the British countryside a bit at the moment, particularly Ben, unfortunately. Not I'm sorry, Ben, please give us something positive to talk about for once. We don't.
Well, I'll be honest, after he recovered the car for that most recent spin, I'm fairly sure he was going drifting at Westfield Ben. I think he's perhaps putting on that European Drift Championship display now. Unfortunately, he's doing it where there's no grandstands and not exactly a whole lot of spectator access, but the spirit's still there, and it looks as if he's having fun in that M3. Santu 929 also getting a bit squirrely there on the exit of Druids, and going wide once again on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. This time it's too wide, and he is very nearly into the barriers there, but surely Memto 89 is going to make it past him. Indeed he does, around the outside. Santu 929 there making a big mistake. Someone once did that in a 1997 Benetton Formula 1 car at a Euroboss round, and fortunately the Lexus is in one piece. The Benetton, however, was not. Can Santu 929 take his second position back?
Yeah, so it was unfortunate for Santu there, but he did crucially keep it out of the barrier, and he is following Memto, who is equally prone, it seems, at the moment to running it wide. So who knows, the one person we haven't seen make a bit of an error for a while is It's Racing, who appears to be getting very acquainted with the
Killing Heidi there, just going off track there without really much
assistance
explanation, but I do believe that might be damage.
Yeah, it's the only logical explanation, isn't it? Unless he's given up all will.
I don't know whether he opted to perhaps stay out on track rather than having the pit stop, see if he could keep that 4th position. but unfortunately it hasn't worked out for him. So the man we were once saying was a contender for the podium, now down in 5th place, and not a million miles off being a lap down. Someone else who's about to be lapped, Ben Crow. He's got to make sure he lets the likes of It's Racing, Memto and Santu pass. But this is the last lap, so I do think that It's Racing would be the only one to potentially get past him. Looks as if he was getting very squirrely there, actually. Quite surprised he made it round the corner. I thought he was perhaps a bit wide on the entry of the corner and would be understeering out of it. But fortunately for both drivers, he has made it round that corner in one piece. It's Racing. He's put on a clinic, really. We haven't seen him put many feet wrong. He was making friends with the grass blades on the exit of Hawthorns, but other than that, he's put in a very good performance, and it's enough to take a rather clean and clear victory. As soon as he gets around clearways, which he has done past the pit entrance, and along the final somewhat straight, he takes the win. It's Racing with the first win of the day. A statement of intent, perhaps. Memto89 holds on to second. Santu9929 will be disappointed to have lost that second place. However, it is still his first podium, and Addy Lizard on his debut just realised why that car is green. His name is Addy Lizard, and he is finishing in 4th position in his core V8 Supercars debut.
Yeah, so it's not bad. He's at least bringing it home for some points in 4th, actually. So a good hatful of points there for his debut. I know we've got a slightly diminished field, but he's made the lesser of the mistakes of the bottom 3. It seems to slid around and collect himself a handy debut there, as I think Killing Heidi and Ben Crow. Ben Crow's still halfway around the last lap, isn't he? Because he was almost lapped as It's Racing was finishing. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can get from second race then at this rate.
Yes, definitely. I'm just going to make a rule for you now. There's a limit to the amount of PSN name related puns you can make during this broadcast, and your current use is exactly 25% of your limit.
Well, there's only one person we can really make any names.
Yes.
Like hang on, Ben Crow. I'm sure there's something we could do with that.
Let's not do many driver name related puns. Ben Crow crosses the line for 6th position in that number 15 BMW. Shortly, they will be back out for race 2. Racing, not quite as intense or close door-to-door action this time around. However, well, we couldn't have predicted the winner at the end. We thought Memto89 had that one sealed, and I don't think many of us would have expected Santu99 to take his podium, particularly on the first race, because he seems to get to grips with the track more and more over the course of the 3 races, as a rule, on the core V8 Supercars Super Sprints. But with that in mind, I wonder what he can do with the other 2 races if he's already finishing on the podium in the first.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a battle of attrition, wasn't it, really? It wasn't necessarily the fastest driver who won. It was whoever was able to compose himself longest, wasn't it? But as the weather was closing in a bit there, it got a bit overcast towards the end of that race, so it may deteriorate further, the weather. So perhaps race 2 is going to throw a few more surprises our way.
Remains to be seen. It would be very interesting to see these Australian V8 Supercars in the wet. We are just moments away from the start of this one. Green light goes out. It's Racing with a very good start. Memto89 not so much. I believe he jump-started there. That's left Santu99 in 2nd once again. Addy Lizard in 3rd. Killing Heidi in 4th. Memto89 in 5th. Ben Crow having a terrible start there. Not sure what happened. Wonder if he was called away from the PlayStation. It only just got going. Killing Heidi there having a bit of an oversteery moment on the exit of Druids. And Memto89 looking up his inside. He'll want to be getting past everyone as soon as possible so he can have a chance of taking victory. I think we'll see some overtaking from the cherry red Camaro over the course of the next 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, definite jump start from Memto. It's a classic lurch forward as you prejudge when the lights are going out, as the electronic judge comes down on you and restrains you for about 2 seconds or so, and then releases you. Now, Memto's got to be a bit careful here.
Yes, around the outside is always a risky move, especially on a twitchy.
He's done it.
He's done it though, yeah, but it was a very risky move on a twitchy Mercedes-Benz like that. But he has made it stick for 4th position. Now he has to get past the BMW of Addy Lizard, who goes a bit wide there. And now Memto89 has the outside, but has he got enough speed to take the corner? Remains to be seen. Addy Lizard pushes him off track a little bit there. Not sure if there was any contact. Very hard to tell from that camera angle. I don't think there was. But apparently some eyewitnesses saying there was a little bit of door-to-door, perhaps wing mirror to wing mirror there. Memto89 has it all to do once more, taking a trip to the gravel traps a la Alex Zanardi last year at the Blancpain Sprint Series event, and himself stuck in that gravel and got underway again under safety car. Fortunately, Memto89 not needing such outside assistance, but he does have to make his way past both Killing Heidi and Addy Lizard once more.
Yeah, so it was quite brutal from Addy there, as Memto was looking to go around the outside. He got marginally in front, but clearly Addy felt he still had the inside line and decided, sorry mate, you are not having this one today, and rather brutally, a la Jason Plato, I think, shoved him off into the gravel to let him deal with it. So we're hearing he might have been all the way in front actually with Memto, so we'll let the stewards dwell over that one later then, see what they made
like
of it.
that from the camera angle. It certainly looked as if Memto had pretty much his entire car ahead of Addy Lizard, but Addy obviously wanted to keep that position, that 3rd place. Unfortunately, he's lost 3rd place to Killing Heidi now anyway, and he might be about to lose 4th to Memto89 this time by. Will Memto89 make a move into Paddock Hill Bend? Addy Lizard putting up a bit of a smoke screen there and letting Memto89 through. Memto89 seems to have been put off by that, as has Addy Lizard. Memto89 almost going off track, and Addy Lizard, well, he's given the fans at Paddock Hill Bend a spray of gravel.
Yeah, so there was a bit of weaving going on there, which didn't seem entirely necessary. I was expecting Memto to get his dander up a bit there and make a bit of a fight out of that one, actually, and a bit of revenge there. But no, he's fairly cleanly got his way past Addy this time and pulled away already. So next on his list will be Killing Heidi, but that's several seconds up the road now, so it's going to take him a while to catch up towards... oh, hello, what's going on here? Has he got a problem?
Allowing Addy Lizard back through? Not sure what's going on here, but Addy Lizard back into 4th place, goes straight off track again. Well, Memto89, I think that's the end of the charity session from the Chevrolet Camaro driver. He will now drive off into the sunset, or indeed the rain clouds, if what we're hearing is true, and chase a podium slot. After this lap, 2 times into the gravel, Addy Lizard will want to be changing his colours somewhat like a chameleon.
We're hearing down from the pits that Memto has got engine damage, which would explain... oh, yeah, you can see it on the screen right now. This is why he's now compromised. Yeah, it's compromised on the straights and going to the pits as a result, which is a terrible shame for Memto. I suspect he probably did pick that up from the original punt he got from Addy, so Memto coming off worse on many fronts in there, and this is going to, unfortunately, sort of leave him back for the rest of this race, as we are 25% of the way through once again. So they're ticking by these laps, and it's racing once again. We haven't spoken about him once more, but he's at the front controlling it once again from Santu, who's hanging on in there rather admirably once again. But let's see what the British weather's going to throw their way. It's a bit low from Santu. This seems to be the way to drive these cars, isn't it? You've got to get the back ends out sometimes, not too much obviously, because that's going to lead to more incidents than it's going to solve really. But Killing Heidi now into P3 ahead of someone we haven't spoken about yet. Normally have done a lot by this point, Mr. Crow. So let's see if Ben can give us something positive in this race and put up a good show, as he's now got past Addy. So let's see what can the Lizard do to respond to his various shenanigans so far then.
Yeah, Crow versus Lizard. Not sure we've seen that one before, unless it was at a careless zoo. We haven't really spoken much about the top two drivers, as you've said. It's Racing and Santu929, still both relatively close together on track. However, there's been such drama at the lower end of the field with Mento, Addy Lizards, and so on. Oh, and he's almost off again there, taking a very wide line at Paddock Hill Bend. But in the midst of all that drama, we've kind of let the lead battle slip from our grasp somewhat. But Santu929 probably about 4 to 5 seconds off. It's Racing, who has built a steady advantage over the course of the first almost 5 laps here, as Santu929 having a big moment again at Hawthorns. That seems to catch a lot of people out. I certainly experienced that on the GT Academy trial, giving it a go to see if I can go from my lowly commentator's box to a real-life racing seat. Probably not happening, but I was definitely finding the Hawthorns grass rather more than I wanted to.
Well, that's the whole point of the GT Academy, isn't it, Adam? To take the unlikely heroes from their living rooms and bedrooms and whatnot to put them into Nissan LMP1s that seems to be going away at the moment. But we'd heard down from the pits that the damage Mento sustained was from the weaving Addy had done down the pit straight there, which is it did look pretty annoyingly. The dust was obscuring the view when we needed it the most, but it turns out there was contact at that incident, and that is what given the Mento the damage there, which that is even worse than I thought it was originally from Addy there. So I'm pretty certain the stewards will be giving him a pretty substantial slap on the wrist for that one later on as a result of that, because it's one thing to barge someone off in the middle of a corner, but weaving about on a straight just isn't really acceptable, is it, under any circumstances?
Definitely not the case to give someone damage by weaving along what is considered a straight. So I'm sure the stewards will have something to say about that. Just to hop back onto the GT Academy point, if you look at the GT Academy graduates, they all look like racing drivers. I've met a few commentators in my day. I look like a commentator. Santu929 having a big moment there, leaving a smoke screen for killing Heidi. The grass is definitely a factor here, along with the cambers on this track, and also the fact that the some of the corners give you the illusion that you can take more speed around them than you actually can, and that leads to putting a wheel on the grass on exit, and that leads to a spin just like that. Santu929 once again losing that second position, but on this occasion he has over half a race left to try and make it back up.
Yeah, he became the latest victim of... I've already forgotten what the corner. I'm disgraceful at this.
Dingle
That's the one. I think I'm a bit of a dingle-dell now for forgetting that. So, yeah, he's become just the latest in a long line of people who have dropped it into Dingle-dell. So, nothing to be ashamed of there for him. He's still holding third and some way ahead of Ben Crowe. So, hopefully, barring any major shenanigans, Santu should hold out for another podium position there, as the weather is getting darker overhead. So, rain could be closing in, as we see, as Mento setting personal bests at the moment and is desperate need to claw his way back up the field, as he, according to he has made a pit stop, of course, we saw that earlier. So we'll have to wait and see if Mento can actually claw his way back up into a decent position by the end of this, or whether there is perhaps too much ground he's lost as a result of the Addy contact to do anything about it. But time will tell, won't it, Adam?
Yes, it remains to be seen exactly what Mento89 can do. It's Racing with a commanding lead here. And we're talking about Dingle-dell corner. Here's an idea for everyone watching. If you refer to someone as a Dingle-dell and they understand the reference, do refer them to Core Online Racing. If they understand that reference, they will surely like our page. And of course, if they're fans of Brands Hatch Circuit, there is currently a contest underway on the Core Online Racing Facebook page to win tickets to the Lotus Festival at Brands Hatch this August, featuring Lotus Formula 1 cars, Lotus road car displays as well. There was a collection of some fabulous Lotus Esprit cars at the circuit a couple of years ago, and along with Downforce Radio, we have provided 2 tickets to the event. All you have to do is guess how long it will take a 1985 Lotus Formula 1 car to lap stock 2011 Lotus Elise complete in black with gold rims, of course. Memso89, not sure if he'll want to be seeing this place again, so I don't think he'll be entering the contest, because this second race will give him all types of nightmares. 6th place at the bottom of the field, not exactly where a driver the caliber of Memso89 wants to be.
No, quite right, but I think still as a racing fan he would appreciate watching something else go around Brands Hatch, particularly as those who are aware, Lotus recently did a filming day around here, did they not, with their current car and one of the
Lotus 72E.
That's the one, yes. So it's giving a flavour to people what that would be like in just that format, let alone a whole festival of it. So it's definitely worth entering that to win the tickets, and I would it be biased to do it myself as I'm involved in core, or
well, you don't know the number, so therefore yes, you can enter.
Do not cheat anyone by looking on YouTube for laps of Ayrton Senna driving Lotuses around this track, as that will probably give people a rough idea to start with, at least of what a Formula 1 car could have done around here. Which,
of course, that would actually have been before the Graham Hill Bend alteration, therefore the lap would be 3 or 4 seconds quicker anyway, so
yes,
you'd need to be a true racing fan to figure things like that out, and this is definitely not one of those contests you hear on the radio where the answer is blindingly obvious from the moment they ask the question. This one is for racing fans who know their stuff. Santu929 certainly knows his stuff, because he's caught up Killing Heidi once more. Does he know how to make an overtaking move at Brands Hatch? Remains to be seen, but we are soon going to find out, as Killing Heidi has fallen back and is now within touching distance for the Indian driver. Just over 3 laps for Santu99 to get his second position back.
Yes, he's crept up on him rather stealthily, actually. We didn't even realise he'd been making that kind of progress. We've been watching the timings for Memso, who's been shattering the fastest lap record around here and is closing up a bit. Is he closing up on Andy Lizard? It's quite difficult to tell at the moment, but
well, he was 21 seconds back about 5 minutes ago. He's now just under, or maybe just over 10 seconds. So he's definitely making up at a rate of knots, and I do think he will have made up a couple of positions for the end of the race. There, Killing Heidi there, almost spinning into Santu929. It was a miracle that they didn't take each other out there. Santu929 with a big flash of the headlights as if to say, I'm here, please don't hit me. And Killing Heidi managing to maintain his second position, managing to keep this Mercedes in a straight line. And that's a theme we've seen throughout the day. That's definitely a rather unstable Mercedes-Benz. Santu929 might just be able to capitalise.
Well done to both of them, though, for avoiding what could have been a colossal crash in that case there, with that Mercedes swinging around all over the place. It's certainly
seeing some aggression there. Seeing plenty of aggression there from Santu929. He's definitely flinging that Lexus into the corners. He's got the headlights on. He's got all of the statements of intent on display. And will he get a good run through clearways on the approach to Paddock Hill Bend? It remains to be seen. No, actually, I think he's lost a little bit of time in that last sector of the lap. Will not be making a move into Paddock Hill Bend if he has any sense. Fortunately, he does not make the move, but Killing Heidi goes wide, and I think that's opened up for an outbraking move into Druids. He's got the inside line. Killing Heidi's outbraked himself. If that was a pre-2011 Brands Hatch, that tarmac would not have been there. Killing Heidi would have been in the gravel. Fortunately, this is...
Memto's had Addy.
Yes, sorry, Addy Lizard has been overtaken by Memto89, but Santu99 back into second place, and he has just over 2 laps left to keep that position, which I do believe he can do. No chance of catching up to It's Racing, who's over 10 seconds clear at this point. Going a bit wide there at Hawthorne's, fortunately not having another moment. Killing Heidi there, just seemed to get himself checked up under pressure. First going wide at Paddock Hill Bend, secondly going wide yet again at Druids. So not the best time for Killing Heidi, but he looks to still be on course for a podium. Will Memso89 get himself past Ben Crow? I don't believe so. I don't think there's enough time. But we've seen miracles from the British driver before. And with the fan support cheering on that lovely red Camaro, I do believe that he could potentially manage a miracle.
He could do. He was closing them down by 4 seconds a lap recently, so there might still be some times. We look at him on the track map here. Actually, looking at that, I don't think even at that rate of knots he'd catch Ben Crow unless Ben makes a mistake. It is about a quarter of a lap, 25% of a lap between the two at the moment. So perhaps there's a bit too much ground even for someone of Memso's calibre to make up. And we know just how good that man is. So he'll give it a go, certainly. You know, you can never accuse the man of not trying. But I think on this case, he's going to be relying on Ben to make a mistake, which, actually, I'm not going to say anything at the moment, just to avoid jinxing the poor man. He's looking good at the moment, Ben. So let's see how this develops, as Santu has pulled. He's pulling away quite comfortably now, isn't he, from Killing Heidi, with It's Racing serenely sort of cruising around at the front. A bit like Nico Rosberg at a recent motor race in Spain sort of protest, isn't it, with you'd almost call Memso playing the role here of one Lewis Hamilton, and to fight his way through. I think the number of cars amplified in this case compared to just one car Lewis had to deal with, but it's a similar situation, is it? It's Racing has been very calm and consistent at the front there, pumping them in, and Memso, well, you say jumping the start would have been his own undoing, wouldn't it? Because it put him back into the pack and left him exposed to incidents, which
and Ben Crow leaving himself exposed to Memso89. Quarter of a lap, I think not. 25% of a lap, I think not as well. He is right behind that white BMW, and with 1 lap left, Ben Crow has some defending to do. If Memso89 can get a good line and a good run through Paddock Hill Bend, he might just be able to shove one up the inside at Druids. Not enough, I don't think, but Ben Crow makes a big mistake there. I thought he was going to spin off into Memso. Memso has the inside line. Straightforward manoeuvre there. I will take that position, thank you. You seem to be struggling to keep the car on track. Watch me, you might find some amazing racing lines. It's Racing is just seconds away from crossing the line. There he is, going around the penultimate corner underneath that Advan Yokohama bridge. Just going past the houses that always complain about noise. Thank you for not letting us use the GP circuit as much as we should, guys. It's Racing about to take his second victory of the day. We were discussing Memso89 taking a hat-trick. Not so sure about that. That's mathematically impossible. However, the man in the prime seat for that would be It's Racing. However, Santu929, third last time, second in this race. Third race, could he take the victory?
Ooh, it's looking ever more likely, isn't it? Let's just go back to that Memso manoeuvre where he managed to... It was quite some way back from Ben, wasn't he? But he managed to frighten the Australian off the apex and claim it for himself on that one. So I was impressed there. I didn't think it was going to happen, but he's managed to do it, to claw his way back from a pit stop to get 4th place, and by far and away the fastest lap in the race. So good job there from Memso for some damage limitation, but it's not stopped It's Racing, who has blitzed this race, hasn't he? Controlled the first one, so can he be on for the hat-trick now, as he's going to have pole position and the advantage for race 3, as the clouds are still dark here, so we could still potentially get some rain in race 3. It depends what the weather gods have got in store for us, as Addy Lizard finishes in 6th place. I could not think of a pun then to go on, so
thank you for that.
Rather mundanely, he finishes, and that is a exciting race we're there. They've been very tactical so far, haven't they? Not the out-and-out thrillers we got in Laguna Seca, but it's always been something for us to chew the fat over and wonder what developments are going to take place. So
yes, and one thing I want to point out, the core Australian V8 Supercars, obviously a very action-packed series. Can you imagine how things would get in this, how good things would get in this third race, with increasing rain and perhaps pit stops, tyres coming into play? if we get a deluge of rain, bit like Spa in Belgium, we could indeed see an incredible third race. Either way, we are about to go again, another battle. The third race of the Brands Hatch Super Sprint for the core Australian V8 Supercars series. Memto 89 starting in the mid pack. It's racing on pole once again. It's racing having very good starts throughout these three races. And Memto 89 has to curb the enthusiasm, make sure he doesn't get a jump start this time around. 5 drivers for this one. Who has gone missing?
We've lost Ben Crow for this one. Perhaps he's had enough of our commentating.
Oh, maybe so. Mostly yours, if I'm going to be honest. It's racing is off, as are the rest of the field. It's racing, getting another great start. Santu 99 also having a good start. Memto 89 making up position on Killing Heidi. I'd say they all got away quite well there. Memto leaving the outside line open. Killing Heidi not taking advantage, almost spinning off there on the inside of Druids as he came out of the corner there, going sideways again, further proving my point that Mercedes is very twitchy and losing 4th place to Addy Lizard.
Yes, his line was compromised when Memto was running wide there at the top of Druids, and he probably got a bit too impatient in putting the power down and lit up the rears a little bit, which is what's set him back in the moment, as once again the top 3 have managed to make a bit of a break for it and are duking it out now as we go through the mid part of the lap. And once again, it's racing, looking to pull away a little bit from Santos at the moment. It's going to be Memto who's going to want to watch out for, as we've seen the pace he's got when he's not chucking it off the road. So it's going to be a case now of how quickly can Memto deal with the Indian driver there in second place, as Addy looks to be exploring said Kent countryside himself there, and probably losing a place to Killing Heidi in the process.
Now look at these 3 out front. That's It's Racing followed by Santu and Memto in quick succession. I'd say that's 75% of my core Australian V8 Supercars dream battle around Brands Hatch, since Santu seems to really know this track well. The other 25 would be Glenow's 81, and it looks as though Santu's having a bit of a scared moment perhaps with that menacing red Camaro in his mirrors. Perhaps the ever-present fear of rain as well. Memto going off wide there as well. That's a big one.
Oh, that's
made
in the
contact
barrier.
with the barriers. That has to be left rear suspension damage. Indeed it is. You can tell by the way that car is handling now. Well, there goes another 25% of my 4-way dream battle at Brands Hatch. So down to the last 50%. Santu 99 needs to keep this one on track, so we're not left with only 25% of my dream battle. It's now a 3-way battle though, and Memto 89 European Drift Championship keeps getting mentioned, and with good reason as well, because Memto is sliding around like nobody's business. There's going to be no rear tyre left on that Chevrolet Camaro by the time he gets back to the pits.
Well, these cars are
And he's going
he's gone off in big fashion.
That must be a 2,500 degree spin.
A 25,000 degree spin there almost from Memto as he yeah, so these things are tricky enough to drive at the best of times, let alone when you've got rear suspension damage to go on it as well. So maximum points there for him trying to get it back to the pits at a good speed. That was all concertining him up. When we saw Memto, he was having a look at Santu going into Druids, but the Indian then was quite late on the brakes, as it looked like It's Racing was quite early on the brakes actually, and we saw the lock-up that ensued for Santu, and it all got a bit closer comfort there, and I think Memto might have been put off a bit and just run it wide through Graham Hill Bend, and we saw the net result was a fairly firm clang on the barrier, and it is unfortunately once again ruined his race, as the lights are out, the headlight, all cars seem to have their headlights on, which is indicating it's getting pretty dark here at Brands, so perhaps rain is not fun. Well, it's been tasing us all day, hasn't it? So who knows, it could probably stay dry, and I'm going to be hyping up absolutely nothing. But it's certainly given Santu some impetus, hasn't he? Because he's right on the back of It's Racing now, so he's not being dropped this time round.
And I must say, if it rains, Memto 89, if he can do that amount of spinning in the dry, the spinning he'd do in the rain, if he did it off a diving board, he'd win an Olympic gold medal. Santu 929 wants a gold trophy off the podium at Brands Hatch. He's got the bronze trophy, he has the silver. and he wants to take the victory this time around, and he doesn't seem to be losing too much time to It's Racing. He's obviously taken note from his own mistakes in the previous 2 races, found the optimal way around this circuit behind the wheel of a bright orange Lexus ISF, and he is now keeping the Australian firmly in his sights. He does seem to take quite a wide line around Druids, though. I'm noticing that every time we see him go around the corner.
Yes, whether it's a mistake he's making every time or it is his preferred choice of line to try and square the corner off or something. The Lexus clearly is a fan of the high-speed corners around here, because normally, we've seen in the previous races, the more slow-speed stuff, it's not been quite as competitive as this. So clearly, Santu's obviously enjoying this track. The Lexus suits it well, and it's what's enabling him to stay well within that Ford Mustang there. So I hope we don't curse the poor bloke now and ruin his chances. But yeah, we're 25% plus through this one now. Only 3 lots more to go until we get to the end of this one, as It's Racing looks to be edging ahead once again. Perhaps he's just building his tyres in gently to avoid. Oh, hello, as we see Killing Heidi, who has been cutting the grass quite a lot, hasn't he? Particularly to Dingledale and
Jonathan Palmer doesn't like it when race drivers ruin his grass, so
no,
the Australian driver can expect an ex-Formula 1 driver to be having a word after this one. The words will not be polite, they will not be congratulations, they will be, here's a bill.
Stop ruining my circuits.
Yes. MSV, of course, big reason, MSV, of course, the Motorsport Vision company that Jonathan Palmer runs, but they're a big reason behind the new track limits regulations in the UK. What you just saw there from Santu929 would be a breach of the new UK track regulations when it comes to the track limits. You can no longer have anything more than 2 wheels off the tarmac. So the days of seeing DTM cars using all of the curb on the exit of Graham Hill, and usually a lot of the grass as well, let's be honest, they're long gone. Not just because DTM no longer visits Brands Hatch, but also because they would be black flag their troubles if they did it a bit too much. Santu929 still in 2nd place, still within striking distance of It's Racing. If It's Racing puts 1 foot wrong, I believe the number 7 will be, if not very close behind, he will be making his way by.
It's looking ever likely, isn't it? Back to your previous point you were making there, Adam, regarding putting wheels over the edge there. If you want to stop racing drivers putting wheels over the edge onto excess curb, just take away the curb. Look here, it's on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend there. You can't really put all 4 wheels over the edge of the curb, because if you do, you'll be sucked into the gravel and lose an exceptional amount of time, as Santu again proving there on the exit of Druids that you can also both
take all 4 wheels off the track there, but
yeah,
I'm not sure you ever watched the DTM race at Brands Hatch either, because that was the racing line at Paddock Hill Bend. Any driver that didn't have all 4 wheels off track was considered slightly strange. There was no such thing as an all-tarmac lap of Brands Hatch back in those days. Jenson Button got in on the act 1 year as well, and you could tell that he was enjoying a day away from Charlie Whiting, let's say. He could get away with a bit more, not least because he was doing demonstration laps and not involved in an actual race. Santu929 does seem to have fallen back ever so slightly over the course of this lap, only by a tenth or 2. So he is keeping a good consistent pace, though. I must say we've been on board with him for quite a while now, and he's, as I said, consistent. He's also keeping his lines in check. It just remains to be seen whether he can reel in It's Racing, or whether It's Racing is going to put a foot wrong. He certainly didn't last time out in the 2nd race of the day. He put a couple of wheels on the sacred Palmer grass in the 1st race, but if the 2nd is anything to go by, he's learnt his lesson.
Yes, he does seem to get better as each race is progressing, but we've seen It's Racing with a fairly sizable advantage so far, haven't we? And you suspect sooner rather than later he'll probably start to inch ahead bit by bit, but the fact that he's hung on this long is very encouraging for him, because bodes well for the rest of the season, where we should hopefully be getting a much larger grid for the next races. We've said there have been several absences from this one. The one who's going to be feeling the pain the most is Glenn House, who has had to watch his main rival so far take a clean pair of wins so far, and looking as if he could add a third, which is going to really punish Glenn in the championship. But we should point out that a lot of the absences are down to people. It's exam time of the year, really, and that's unfortunately eating into a lot of people's racing time, as you never justify to parents that this is more important than exams. And we're not saying it either. Exams. Yeah, so who needs exams and qualifications and all that stuff when you've got this to play on all day long? Unfortunately, people won't buy that. Actually, you can't convince an employer to sign you because you are good at Gran Turismo 6. So,
well, unless you're the Project Cars development team, they were looking for just that, as many racing game fans
or a GT Academy driver.
Yes, that too. And of course, Project Cars has just come out inconveniently close to exam time as Memto89 goes off track once again. That was a bit of a Larry moment for Memto, but I know that a lot of my PS4 owning friends, I'm not one of them, unfortunately, but many of my PS4 owning friends very distracted by the prospect and the final ownership of Project Cars. Quite a few people who are quite into cars were missing today, and I didn't tell anyone that's why, but I'm fairly sure that it is exactly why they were not present today for their lessons at college. But these 5 guys are still present at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, the Racing College of Kent, if you will, along with Lyddon Hill, which is perhaps the grammar school.
I'm not sure it's quite an analogy I would have made there, Adam, but it's sort of works, isn't it? Well, we wish our best of luck to people who are sitting exams at the moment, and we hope they can return as soon as they can to enjoy the fun experience of court. As at the moment, I think we can see on the track map that Santu's still holding on reasonably well to its racing there, so clearly the engine has not given up on this one just yet and is looking for his first victory, which would be quite a feat in such a competitive field to do it on only what will be his 6th race, wouldn't it, technically now, as he's he debuted at Laguna, didn't he? So he's got 5 under his belt. He's now number 6. He's on his 3rd now. Addy Lizard is
going not quite off track at Clearways, but
no,
quite
he tries
close.
best to deceive us, but not quite fulfilling it there. So
Santu99 hasn't lost any time to its racing, has he? In fact, he might be marginally closer. It's stalemate here. I'd really like to see a sudden outburst of rain to see who can handle that best. I am a bit mean to these drivers sometimes. What I am hearing, though, is that rain is pretty much forecast for the next 7 days. Which means we could see a rather soggy, damp Silverstone. Even at 25% weather, Silverstone Grand Prix circuit can be very tricky, purely because quite a lot of the racing line includes curbs, and what can you not touch in the wet? Curbs. So,
yeah, at least 25% of them you can't touch. Some you can get away with, but particularly around Silverstone, a quarter of them are lethal when it's wet. Around here, well, the rain model on Gran Turismo is rather unforgiving compared. It used to be rather easy to drive around, but then after numerous updates, of which previous followers will know I was a big fan of those updates, really loved them. They made it fantastic to drive in the rain. And I remember one race I had at Silverstone where I hadn't done any wet weather driving for a few months, and then it came to race day and it was horrendous in a Pescarolo. It just spun off whenever you looked at the throttle pedal. You didn't have to touch it, just looked at it and it was off. So I really did not like the wet weather model they've done. And that's on a LMP car, which has got plenty of downforce. These things are purpose designed really to be going sideways a lot, so no one even knows what they feel like in the wet weather. I imagine fairly horrendous, but we could do with some rain to test the theory. But as things look at the moment, with only 3.5 laps to go, which is 25% left, isn't it? So,
and one thing I'm going to say, it's not one thing I'm going to say that's not theory, it's in fact, well, fact. AMG, as proved by Killing Heidi, are not car manufacturers. They are, as you said, sideways machines. AMG are tyre destroyers by trade, and Killing Heidi has certainly been destroying his tyres. Plenty of sideways moments, plenty of thrills, and an equal amount of spills. The ratio was certainly more than 25% spills for the 75% thrills. I'd say it's about 50-50. It's Racing, though, is getting away from Santu now. Santu still has the headlights ablaze, but I think those headlights are becoming ever more distant in the Ford Mustang rearview mirror that the Australian driver has the luxury of glancing at every few seconds.
Yes, it's sort of going backwards and forwards, isn't it, that gap? Sometimes Sansu closing a little bit, but then he drops back again. So if you look at their last laps, there's only a tenth of a second in it, which is still impressive at this late stage of the race, as once again Memto smashing the fastest laps on his way to clawing back some of the deficit he's lost after his misadventure this time around when he clouted the barrier coming out of Graham Hill Bend. He hasn't yet reached the back of Addy Lizard for a repeated their little fisty up there in race 2.
Very close though.
Yes, says well, my previous estimates that the gap between Memzo and his prey have always been destroyed in a matter of moments, so I suspect we'll probably see him in 4th place not before too long then. So that's where we've got all our bases covered, and on cue the director has taken us to said Memzo, who
once again, smoking his way through fast corners. He does that a lot.
Gone off again.
He doesn't go off rally crossing a lot, but he's done it on this occasion. What I was going to say is Memto89 definitely likes stiff setups on his car. You see it a lot around high-speed corners. I'm sure regular viewers of core TV broadcasts will be completely aware that he likes giving people smoke screens. He went through a smoke screen there. It was from Addy Lizard, who has dropped it on the entrance to the penultimate corner. Given 4th place away, Memto89 says, "Thank you very much, I will take that one. Look at my new paint scheme."
I'll say 25% of the time we've seen Memto try and take Hawthorne's Bend, he has made a bit of a rally cross out of it, so
is It's Racing, actually. There's been a lot of court rally crossing going on here. I said that the grammar school of Kent Motorsport was Liddon Hill, but these guys want to be at Liddon Hill, clearly. And of course they have a brilliant rallycross layout, but we're not at Liddon Hill, guys. This isn't World Rallycross. However, it is still core Australian V8 Supercars, and It's Racing, despite having his fair share of trips onto the grass, especially in the first race, is leading the way. And well, with 1 lap minus a Paddock Hill Bend to go, he looks set to take that hat trick. Wouldn't it be very interesting if we had a early Gran Turismo 6 style downpour where it goes from 0 to 100 in about 30, or indeed 25.
I don't think any of the drivers would appreciate that very much. We would, because it would certainly make it exceptionally entertaining, but I can't imagine anything that'd be worse for the drivers at this stage now, with only half a lap to go at the moment, or let's call it, it's about half a lap, isn't it? As It's Racing approaches Hawthorne for the last time, where they can now plant crops on the outside of it, courtesy of Emerson and his...
Not Jonathan Palmer's intention, but they've made it so anyway. Get the compost out, Mr. Palmer. Jolien's not up to much. Get him to grow some corn on the side of your race circuit. It's Racing, just coming through the last succession of corners there. Dingle Dell, the corner that names, well, I've forgotten on. It's Racing, coming towards his 3rd victory. It's going to be a hat-trick, a dominant performance. The only Pride Tech Motorsport driver out there today. He's covered all bases for MTLA and the rest of the team, because he has put on a brilliant performance, weaving as if his name was Addy Lizard there. Fortunately, no Memto89 to have damage. Santu929 follows suit, but It's Racing, the star of the day. No question the driver of the day today, because he has won 3 races in a row. Although Santu929 could say, well, actually, I've had my debut podium and then 2 more. But I think It's Racing has to have the honours for the first clean sweep we've seen this season. Killing Heidi, third place, crosses the line. Memto89 drifting a little bit. I think he knows, well, he obviously knows that he can't get any more positions. So maybe putting on a show in these last couple of corners. Oh, you never know, he might be doing a Sebastian Vettel as well. He might be going for a fastest lap on his last lap. He's got a 25.2 to beat. Does not manage that. Just over a second off his fastest lap, a 126.3. And, well, the races haven't been up to the incredible standard. We were really treated and spoiled by Laguna Seca as Adi Lizard crosses the line to take fifth. But definitely very interesting stuff here at Brands Hatch. Santu929 has obviously done his homework over our extended month break from the Core Australian V8 Supercars Championship, and he has now emerged as a genuine contender. And of course, next time out at Silverstone, there's plenty of rumours going around the Core Australian V8 Supercars community as to who and who may not be entering the race. We hope to see the likes of Glenelgs and MTLA back on track. Perhaps some Core All-Stars out there as well. It would be great to see at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. I just want to remind you one more time about the contest, the great contest that will take you to Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit itself this August. All you have to do is go to the Core Online Racing Facebook page, where the post is pinned, and you can win tickets to the Lotus Festival in August simply by guessing how long a 1985 Lotus F1 car will take to lap a stock Lotus Elise from 2011. The only alteration made was rims that were paintable so we could have that classic black and gold like JPS. And just some regulations for you. You have to make sure that no one else has selected the same figure you're about to type out. You have to make sure you're 18 or over. If you're not 18 or over, please do ask a parent's permission. And also make sure you can attend the event, because there's no point having tickets for an event you cannot be at. So happy guessing, happy mathematics, happy analysing of Ayrton Senna's classic races. But let's just shift back to the Core Australian V8s once again. After that one, Tom Chorley, do you think Memto89 might be a bit shaken going into the remainder of the season? We know he's not going to be out at Silverstone, but that's not the best way to take a break, is it, immediately after that performance?
No, it wouldn't have been what he wanted, obviously, with the amount of incidents he had. But crucially, he was fast when he wasn't chucking it at the wall or being hit by people. In some ways, he'll probably be glad he's missing Silverstone, as he's notoriously had poor races there as well. They're not his favourite tracks, so he'll be looking
about
to
Britain.
Yes, which makes you wonder then why he goes to such lengths to put on fancy paint jobs for everyone. Yes, perhaps he should move elsewhere in that case. But he'll bounce back. He's more than good enough to get over it, analyse what went wrong, and sort it out for next time round. But I want to give the shout out to Santu, because he was my driver of the day to, improve each race to the point where the end there he was challenging for most of the race, wasn't he? Maybe not quite close enough to attack its racing, but certainly close enough to make him watch his mirrors every now and then to make sure he was never too close to him. So it was a good job from me there, and well, we look forward. I'll be back for Silverstone, obviously, to commentate on that one, hopefully, as I'm rather enjoying my new role in commentating. It's been good fun, hasn't it? Wasn't quite the balls to the wall fun we had in Laguna Seca, but it was certainly very interesting nonetheless. See what could play out in this one, and we look forward to what could be a rather soggy Silverstone.
Indeed, it could be very soggy indeed. As you say, Santu99 putting on a brilliant performance today, while Memto89 searches for holiday villas in Spain. Don't you do that, because if you're a UK resident, you can enter our contest on the Core Online Racing Facebook page in association with Downforce Radio, so do get to that. But until just 7 days' time from Silverstone, it's goodbye from me, Adam Weller, the entire core Australian V8 Supercars fraternity, and of course, Tom Chorley. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage, and we will see you next time.
And happy Mother's Day as well to anyone in the parts of the world that are currently celebrating said day.
Indeed. Goodbye.